Hi, this is Lori Davila and another video here to help you get that job, that dream job that you're looking for. Again, it's a very proactive approach. You've got to take action. You've got to reach out to others, connect with others, target what it is that you're looking to do, connect with people that are what I call purposeful, that are in your target market. So today what we're going to talk about is creating effective messaging. Now, from the last video, you have basically learned how to find people in your target market. So what we're going to do tonight is talk about what you do once you've compiled your list of contacts. What do you say, to grab their attention, to get an eagerness. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to stand out from the competition. And it's not what you think. These are really very basic but very, very important concepts to remember. And if you use these concepts not only in this process but in your everyday life with your family, your friends, your spouse, your peers at work, I can't tell you how profound this will change your life for the better. It's really about building relationships and connecting with other people. So the first thing you want to talk about, or we want to talk about, are a couple of important concepts that are really just human nature. The first concept I want to share here is, all people, you and me included, all we really want is to feel important, special, and that other people care about us. So what we're going to talk about tonight is how to make the other people that you're either networking with or recruiters, how to make them feel like they are important or special to you. That's how you connect with them, and that makes all the difference in the world. Point number 2 here is the way you do it, the way you make people feel special or important, is not by telling them about your greatest attributes off the bat, but it's by asking other people questions and listening to the details of their answers, because people will buy from and hire from only people that they like, know, and trust. And the only way to build likability and trust is to ask questions and get people to share with you what's honestly most important to them. And I have here asking questions about family, occupation, recreation, interests, and core motivations. Now, these are things that are appropriate in a networking meeting, but not necessarily in an interview. It's not appropriate for you to ask about, do you have kids? What do you do in your free time? But those are great questions to ask when you're networking, to get people to talk about things they love to talk about. There's no better way to connect with people. So the next point here is, if you get other people to talk about themselves, that's how you stand out. All of a sudden you become very interesting, and it's really the only way to impress others and to stand out is to take an interest in the other person. Probably not what you thought you were going to hear in this video course. Next point, you want to help others get what they want first, and the only way you can help others get what they want first is by listening and identifying what that is, so that you become the solution, and then you tie your skills and talents to their needs once you learn what those needs are. If you ask questions, that puts you in power. Now let me give you an example. About 2 years ago, I had the most excruciating, complex hiring decision I ever had to make in my life. My mother got sick in South Florida, and I needed to hire someone to live with her at home 24 hours a day and take care of her. Excruciating decision. So what I did was I called about 4 different home healthcare agencies. 3 agencies, when I got them on the phone, all they did was talk about themselves. We're insured, we're bonded, we've been in business 20 years, we can take care of all your needs, just call us when you need us. So you see how that conversation was a complete turnoff. And it's the same thing with you if you go to a networking or if you go to an interview. If you just go in there, have no idea really who you're talking to, and just fire away why, what you're good at and what your expertise is, like I just gave you that example, without really getting to know the person or making them feel special and important, you've lost it. You've lost them. It's not how you can grab their attention and make them eager to want to help you or hire you. The fourth agency, instead, when I called them, did not say a word about who they were. They asked questions. The first question they asked me was, "Lori, tell me what happened. How's your mother? And how are you doing?" And what that did was it opened the floodgates for me to talk for about 20 minutes about all the issues that I had with my mother, and all of a sudden the person seemed to care simply because they were listening to me. And when I talk here about tie your skills and talents to their needs, all of a sudden by his questioning, I was able to share my greatest need or my greatest fear. I said, I live out of state. I don't live in Florida, and I'm really concerned about this whole situation. And he proceeded to tie his skills and talents of his company to my needs. He said, by giving examples. He said, we have several clients, many clients, where the adult children live out of state, and our clients are the patient, the parent lives here in Florida, and he gave one example after another of how it's just been a seamless, very effective solution to their issue. So we began to build trust, and of course I hired him, and I still, trust the company today. So that's an example of talking about asking questions to really connect with the other person. And my last point here, I say, I've had clients get job offers simply because they even went into an interview and asked a lot of really great questions. And the interviewer said, in one case, I recall this, the interviewer said, you now know more about my company than anyone else who works here, because they asked such great questions, and they ended up hiring this individual. So asking questions and shutting up and listening is the best strategy. Okay? So with that in mind, I'm going to share with you 8 steps to create your effective messaging. And by the way, 8 steps sounds like a lot. Really, when you connect with somebody via email for the first time, whether you know them or not, you're simply keeping it to a very short paragraph, just a few sentences. And I am going to send along with this video some samples of some communications and messaging that others have put together. But the point is, number 1, your point is to build that trust, build a friendship, build a connection, and the way you can do that effectively is personalize the first few lines with a friendly connection. Don't use a canned opening. Don't use an opening so that the person knows you're just writing a form letter to 50 other people and, dear sir, dear madam, I am seeking a new job and I need your help. And, that's just not the way to go. You want to build a connection. And a lot of times you can do that by doing research on the person. Maybe you found their profile on LinkedIn and you see that you and that person went to the same college, or you're in the same profession, or you work for the same company, or you know some of the same people. You can start off by saying that. I see that you and I both went to Duke University. That builds a connection. Step number 2, you always want to tell the person how you found them because they want to know. So, I found you on LinkedIn. I was referred to you by our mutual friend Bob. Just let them know, give them a clue as to how you found them. Number 3, you also always want to start with a genuine compliment. How they inspire you, a common connection or referral, something in common, what I call a me too, or ideally a combination. This is something to enhance or uplift that person. So your first couple of sentences, you can start off by saying, I found you on LinkedIn. I was very impressed, or I'm in awe with a speech that maybe you clicked on a video and they gave a speech and you watched a few minutes of the speech, or you saw a publication they've written, or you just simply admire their professional background. Find something. You can search the web. Just take a few minutes, find something that you can compliment them on. A common connection or referral. We both know Bob. We both went to the same school. That's something in common, a me too. So if you can come up with a combination, you've hit a home run. You see how this is very different than the old cover letters that were written years ago that were so formal and really didn't say diddly about who you were and what in this case we want you to bring out your personality. Number 4, rate the effectiveness of your message. Do you have more yous than I's? You want to say, you really impressed me. I really enjoyed reading about your background, versus I'm writing to you because I need a job and I need help. So definitely have a lot more yous than I's, because this is all about them and not you. Step number 5, yes, you want to lay the cards on the table. You don't want to blindside them, and let them know why you are contacting them in this short little memo. I'm looking for new career opportunities. I'm exploring new career opportunities. I want to find ways that maybe we can get together and network and help one another. So come up, be a straight shooter, and don't have the hidden agenda later. People like to know what's in store up front. Step number 6, tell them what's in it for them. Entice them. Maybe you're an expert in something and you can hopefully provide some information or resources or contacts when you meet. So kind of entice them with that. Number 7, you want to have a call to action. So suggest 3 options of dates and times for you to meet people, for you to meet with them, and provide cell phone numbers just in case you have to change. Nobody likes to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on email trying to schedule a meeting. And number 8, always be positive and uplifting towards the other person. Now here are some examples of what not to do. So let me just read this. These are actual letters that I've received, and I usually get them on a daily basis. Dear Lori, I hope you're having a great week. I'm doing independent consulting. I'm looking for an opportunity in operations, logistics, distribution, business development, and supply chain. You can see why a marketing plan is important here. So if you hear anything, keep me in mind. See my cover letter and resume and pass it along to anyone you may think may help. Thanks and best regards. So again, here's an example of this letter is all about the other person. They've done nothing to try and connect with me, and there's no call to action, and you can see all the reasons why I hit the delete button on these kinds of letters. Here's another one. Dear Lori, I hope all is well. My run at ABC Company just ended. I would love to connect with you and pick your brain. I've attached my resume for starters. I'm looking for a CIO role at a larger shop. Talk to you soon. So same idea. No connection there, no ability in this communication to make me feel important or special, or that this other person cares about me. I did receive an email once, in contrast to these, where somebody saw me speak somewhere and they said something like, "Dear Lori, I happen to know several organizations that could utilize your speaking. Would you like an introduction? Question mark." So that's an example. He hit the ball out of the ballpark by offering to do something for me. So it's finding a great combination in your message to help the other person, to focus on the other person. Okay, so now you have sent out several of these emails to the connections that you've created, a target list of connections. You've set up your meetings, and you want to set up in-person meetings if at all possible. Telephone does well as well, but don't talk to somebody just through email. You can't connect with somebody effectively if you're just exchanging email messages. So either request an in-person or a telephone meeting. So you've had the meeting on your agenda, and what you do is, here's a meeting agenda template, and again, I'm going to send this along with this video. Same thing, walk into the room, start with a genuine compliment, something in common. You know, let's talk a little bit more about Bob, who we both know. So definitely get that connection going in the beginning of the meeting. Second most important key here that so many of my clients have forgotten about, or they skip this step. This is your meeting. You have to take charge of the meeting. So step number 2 is you have to give an overview about what you want to talk about and give them your appreciation for meeting with you. You have to take charge of the meeting. So set the agenda. Bob, I'm so glad that, I appreciate that you had the time to meet with me today. It won't take a lot of your time, but here's what I'd like to do for the next 30 minutes. And I'd like to learn about what you're doing, what's important to you. I want to learn about your challenges to see if there's anything that I can do to help you in exchange for you taking a look at my marketing plan. I'm going to walk you through it to see if there's anything or anybody in my marketing plan that you might know that possibly you can connect me with, as I am seeking new opportunities. So give them an overview, and always start by asking them questions and start by focusing on them. And that's point number 3. 75% of that meeting should be your asking questions up front, if at all possible, to enhance the relationship. And that's before you talk about your goals and your needs. 25% of the meeting, you talk about your goals, what you're looking for, go through the marketing plan, ask questions to solicit the right kind of help, and be as clear as possible, because if you leave that meeting and that person is confused about what you're looking to do next, they're not going to be able to help you. Use closing techniques where appropriate to get others to sell themselves on you. And what I mean by that is, in an interview, or if it's a networking meeting that may turn into an interview, at the end, a good closing question might be, what did you think about what you heard today? And get them to start talking about your strengths, your qualifications, and when they hear themselves talk, they will sell themselves into hiring you. So that's a great closing technique. Next step, have a final call to action, summarize next steps, and that's what you want to do. Offer your help. Find out again, repeat what they need and what they're looking for, and describe how you're going to help them. Maybe you don't have the answer at the meeting. Maybe a day later, a week later, 3 weeks later, you might have an idea of how you can help them. but don't forget about them. And then definitely follow up with thank yous. I appreciate your insights. That was a great meeting. I learned a lot. Thanks for your great advice. I'm going to follow up immediately. So that's a little bit about the meeting agenda. I'm going to be sending this along with this video. You're probably wondering, what can I ask? I have so many sample questions. Again, I'm going to forward these along with the video. So many sample questions to get people to start talking about themselves, about their profession. What do you enjoy most about your profession? You start learning about their motivations. What do you love about it? What don't you like about it? When you ask them about what you like about it or what you love about it, you're starting to hear their passion, their motivations. Take notes on that. That's real important. What don't you like? What don't you like about your current job? What don't you like about your current department? That's where people will spill their guts about their needs and their wants, and that's where you can really help them. I love to ask this question. Be open and honest with me. When you do that, you're giving the person permission to open up to you. What do you really want, or what would you really like to see in your company or professional life? Again, depending on the situation, if it's an interview or if it's a networking session. So I've got a lot of questions that you can choose to ask during that networking meeting. When you're switching gears to yourself, this is the time you can start asking questions regarding and sharing regarding what you're looking for. I have meeting objectives here. You're trying to get the other person in a networking meeting to identify contacts, key players for you. So good objectives here. Again, I'll be sending this along with the video. Here's some sample questions you can ask. My two favorite questions are questions 1 and 2 here. Number 1, what advice do you have for someone like me with my background, skills, and interests? This is a great question because everybody loves to give advice. And secondly, I'd like to walk you through my marketing plan to see who you might know in my target market. So again, I have more questions than you can ever handle. I also have a networking meeting rating sheet that I will send to you. And this is just a template to help you determine if you're improving in your networking, if you're following all the strategies that we talked through in this video. So for example, item number 2 here, how well did I build a relationship or that trust and likability? Did I give a genuine compliment? Did I discuss a me too? You know, all the things we talked about. Did I ask most of the questions? So you can check off to see how well you performed in a networking meeting. How well did I learn about the other person's motivations? Did I ask them to be open and honest? Remember I said that was my favorite question? Did I get them to talk about their interests, goals, needs, and motivations? And what's real important is once you learn about those things, to repeat them back word for word, if possible, in their own words. This is what I heard you say are your interests, your goals, your needs. Did I get that right? Because people love to feel like they're understood. So by repeating that back to them, you've really, once again, hit a home run. How well did I tie my skills and talents to their motivations and needs? Rate yourself 1 to 5. How much clarity did I provide in terms of how they can help me? So this is a great barometer of how well you performed in a networking meeting. If after you've gone through your marketing plan with them and all they said was, I'll keep my ears and eyes open, or they'll forward your resume to human resources, that's not the answer you want to hear. If you hear one of those two things, you were not clear, you were not clear enough so that they can really determine who in their network could possibly help you. So be wary if you get that answer. If instead they refer you to 1 to 3 people, outstanding. If they refer you to more than 3 people, that's amazing. So those are great ways to rate yourself. Did you offer help? Did you have a call to action? So this is just a great sheet for you to rate yourself. And lastly, another great strategy that I want to share with you tonight is called the virtual introduction. Let's say in a meeting they say, yeah, I've got 3 people that I want to introduce you to. Ask them to do what's called a virtual introduction. It will take the load off of them and it will really open the doors for you. And what that entails is just ask them if they could send an email to that person they want to introduce you to, as well as to yourself. Put the subject as an electronic handshake or a virtual introduction, and send a short email as to the reason why they feel like the 2 of you need to meet. And when they do that, the door opens 100% of the time, versus you having to email or call that person and saying, you know, Mary or Joe, our mutual friend, suggested I talk with you. I mean, that's a strong introduction, but the virtual introduction, 10 times out of 10, that opens the door for you. So that is the session for today. Your homework is to write your messaging and start sending them out. I would suggest, you know, this is a numbers game. If you can do 10 to 20 a day or 50 to 100 a week, that may sound like a lot, but all you do is keep hitting enter. If you do 5 to 10 a day or up to 50 a week, you know, again, this is a numbers game. So do as much as you can. You can do it if you're working. You can do it during the evening or lunch hour, whatever works for you. And the goal should be to meet with work your way up to 3 to 5 people a week, again, depending on your schedule. The more people you get yourself in front of, the sooner this will happen for you. And that's the end of today's session. Thanks for listening.